healthy condition, and we are happy to meet you all today. So in today's session, we have Dr. Francisca Maria Ivone from Universitas Negeri Malang, and her session today will be about technology in extensive listening and viewing. And my name is Calvin, and I'll be the moderator for today's session, supported by British Council. And also, Bapak Ibu, there will be some panelists with us today. So first of all, we have Pak Jati and Mbak Grace from ITB Bandung. Say hello, Pak Jati and Mbak Grace. And we have Ibu Vinita as well from UB Bandung.
Hello.
And then we have Mbak Lutfi from Universitas Swadaya Gunung Jati in Cirebon.
Hello.
And then we have Mbak Sheila from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purwokerto. Okay. And then we have Pak Agus from UNS Solo. Pak Agus.
Halo.
Hi. Okay. And then we have Pak Made from Universitas. Okay. And then we have Pak Made from Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha in Bali.
Hello.
And then we have And then we have Pak Toar from Universitas Kristen Satya in Salatiga. Okay, Bu Ivone, are you ready?
Not really, but yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please welcome
good
Bu
morning.
Ivone. Silakan Bu Ivone.
Thank you, Mas Calvin. Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Good? All right. So I'm going to start my presentation now. All right, so today I'm going to talk about technology in extensive listening and viewing. I always think about technology as a tool. Well, most of the time, not always, but mostly as a tool to help me do my job better and faster, more efficiently. And today I'm going to put it into the context of extensive listening and viewing. I will start with this video. Anyone familiar with BTS? I'm sure you are, most of you. Now I'm going to play.
We're back with BTS, and first of all, let's have introductions. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is RM. I'm the leader of this crew and kind of like a spokesperson.
Hi guys.
Bye-bye.
Woo! Hi. I'm your host. You're my host. I'm Jay Hope. Hi.
Hello. Hi, my name is Shin and worldwide handsome. Nice to meet you, guy. I'm Jimmy.
All right. So we have an interpreter just in case I need one, but you actually, RM, you speak English, right?
Yes.
So pretty well. You taught yourself English?
Yes, I taught myself English.
How did you teach yourself English?
Actually, my English teacher was the sitcom Friends.
Oh, you
That's
watched
legendary.
Friends?
Yes.
So was it mainly just phrases then, or you just learned everything?
I think, back in the days, like when I was like 15, like 14,
Yeah.
it was quite like a syndrome for all the Korean parents to make their kids watch the Friends.
Really?
So yeah, I thought I was kind of like a victim at that time, but but right now I'm the lucky one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like thanks to my mother, she bought all the seasons for DVDs. It got 10 DVDs, right?
Right.
She bought me, and so firstly I watched with the Korean subtitle. And then next time I watched with the English subtitle, and then I just removed it.
That's very impressive, and friends would be very happy that you learned.
Thank you. I love French.
Okay. So anyone experienced something similar? You can write your comments in the chat box there. So I'm interested in this particular topic because I'm actually like this guy talking, the BTS guy talking in the video. I learned English through watching movies and also listening to audiobooks, and I read as well. What about you? Anyone want to write something on the chat box there? Okay, someone says that they learn English from songs, from watching Harry Potter. Yeah, someone says about their kids learning English based on love songs. Sidney Sheldon's novels, videos, and songs. Right, and some of you learn at 15 years old when you were 15 years old. Right, so this is something which is very close to us, right? Not something alien. Many of us do this, and as language learners, how is listening, L2 listening learned? Now let's take a look about this particular issue first. So most of us learn it in the context of formal education in schools. So when it comes to learning L2 listening in formal context like this, we think about the issue of quantity. How much have you learned from class? And then the duration of time that you're learning or practicing listening in class. What sort of activities do you experience in class? What sort of materials do you use in class? Not many people who just learn in classrooms are successful language learners. In fact, when we talk to successful language learners about their learning journey, most of them do more than just classroom learning. They are not just doing the intensive listening in class, but they listen to a lot of other things outside class as well as in class. So today we are going to combine intensive listening with extensive listening with the help of technology. And I'm going to start with the aims first. Why should people do extensive listening? The activities that we can do. So this is for students, for your students, as well as for yourself as teachers. Because as teachers, we also need to grow, right? And we can always do something to grow ourselves as a teacher. Sorry. And lastly, I'm going to talk about materials used in extensive listening and viewing. All right. Now let's go to the aims. Extensive listening is not like intensive listening that we usually do in class. So, oops, sorry. A bit of technical glitch there. Yeah, so we want our students to be exposed to the target language. That's why we do extensive listening. In class, we do not give them enough time to do this. In fact, we actually move from one topic to another very quickly. So our students do not have time to internalize what they learn in class. Intensive listening in class is also sometimes very demanding because students are given a recording to listen to, and then they are given tasks to do, mostly in the form of intensive comprehension questions, So we don't want to do that in extensive listening. We want them to enjoy the experience of listening and to come up with general comprehension of what they listen, not detailed comprehension like what we usually do in class. We want them to develop fluency and automaticity. Now, if I speak like this, I want to go to Salatiga very soon in the future. It's very difficult for people to understand, because it's very slow and it's not natural. And we need to give our students the chance to develop fluency so that they can listen comfortably to people speaking at normal speed. So fluency and automaticity. And the next one is confidence and motivation. We want our students to build confidence because in intensive listening, we usually give them something very difficult to listen to, and students get very tense and anxious when they do this. They think that they're not good at it. Many students say that when learning a language like English, what is your weakest skill? Oh, I cannot listen well. They do not have the confidence to listen in the target language. So they're lacking motivation. And that's what we are trying to target this in extensive listening program or viewing program. So the activities that students can do within extensive listening are categorized into two, actually. And I put them in different colors there because they have different level of importance. The first one, the extensive listening and viewing activities, that's the actual listening. And that's the most important activity within this type of program. The next one is follow-up activity. So these ones activities that we do so that we know that our students are listening to whatever they're listening to and not just saying that they are listening. So there is some sense of accountability there, accountability. We want them to do what they should do. All right, now in your program, extensive listening and viewing program, you can do both, but you can also do only the first one because there are many types of extensive listening that we can employ. All right, so let's take a look at the first type of extensive listening and viewing activity. So listening only. This is the first one, and usually when we do extensive listening in class, we do this. However, this type of activity is very demanding for beginners and low intermediate learners. Low intermediate learners, because they only have one channel of input. They can only hear things. They do not have anything else. And so that's very demanding. In class, teacher can use their own voice to do this by doing directed dictation or read aloud in class. Outside class, they can listen to any oral text for pleasure. So this is one type. The next type is reading while listening. Reading while listening is actually a lot easier because the oral text can be made more comprehensible by the fact that they are given a text, to accompany the oral text. So it makes the input more comprehensible. And in doing this, reading while listening, students can enhance their concentration on listening to a text. They can focus. When you only listen by listening or through the channel of your oral, then it's very difficult for them to not wander around. The next one, reading while listening also allows students to focus on vocabulary, pronunciation, stress, as well as intonation. It can help them make connection between what they hear and what they read. However, it may encourage overdependence on written text because they always have a written text that then they think that, you know, that activity is easy, but once the text is not there, they cannot do the listening activity properly. So make sure that after doing this, you also give your students the chance to listen only and without the text. The next one, listening, viewing, and reading. This is something that we normally do in real life, and that's why it's very easy. When we watch movies, for example, on TV, we turn on the subtitles and then we watch it, and we enjoy that because you have different channels of input. You see visual, textual input, as well as the oral input. So the oral text will be more comprehensible. It can develop your students' autonomous listening strategies, like the experience of the guy in BTS. He started with listening in Korean, watching subtitles in Korean while watching that sitcom TV series. And then he changed the subtitle into English. And finally, he dropped the subtitle. Yeah, so he can develop that skill. The next one, this type of activity also develop listening and speaking fluency, because you can take a look at the people there, you can read their lips, and then you can take a look at their expressions, and you can focus on those things as well. This one fit intermediate and low proficiency L2 learners. The next one, this is only a variation of the previous one that we saw. So listening, viewing, and reading. This is listening and viewing, so pretty similar, but you just miss the text. Yeah, still the input, it will be more comprehensible because you have the visual. Your students can concentrate more on the listening to the text rather than reading. So this will be for higher level of learners. They can also focus on vocabulary, pronunciation, stress, and intonation, because they do not have to try too hard to understand the story. It facilitates spoken and written words and expression, connection, drawing, and also encourage. It may, I think I put something wrong in here. Right. So I'll go fast forward a little bit. Now, so let's talk about technology for assisting comprehension. So in my experience, I use technology for assisting comprehension in 3 different ways. So the first one is for controlling audios or video files. And then the next one is for adjusting audio speed. And the last one is for providing access to multi-modal input. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. So the first one, I take this one from British Council podcast. So let's explore this a little bit. So in podcast, you have the audio there. So I want you to pay attention to the 3 examples, because I'm going to ask you a question afterwards, okay? So the second part of this is the transcript or the script of the podcast. It's quite long because it's divided into sections there. And after that, we have understanding checking. So you are given some questions to answer. And also some language learning activities. Okay, so that's the first example. Let's go to the second example. The second example is from reading, X reading. So let's explore this a little bit. So we are talking about activities at this point. Yeah, what sort of activities can we do? So again, you have a script there. I haven't activated the audio for this one because of copyright issue. So this one is a little bit special because you can slow down the audio. You can choose from stop after each track or play continuously. So you can read it while listening to it. As you can see here, it's actually playing, but you're not hearing it. There's a bit of visual there. Okay, so that's X reading. The first one, British Council podcast. The second one, X reading. Let's take a look at the third one.
Bu Ivone,
So this, yeah.
yeah, some ask actually, are you playing the audio or just
No,
displaying?
no, no. I'm not playing the audio for that
Oh, okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know. I do not want to violate copyright issue for that particular one. So I'm just showing. Yeah. Just pay attention to what we can do, but the audio are actually playing, but you cannot hear the audio. Okay, so this one is in the form of video from TED ED. You can actually control the audio and you can put a subtitle there. And if you go to setting, this is the setting of YouTube. You can slow it down a little bit. And if you're beginners, you can even use Indonesian subtitles. Okay, there are some activities that students can do. They think about the issue, they think deeper, and then they also discuss. Right. Now, you have 3 examples. Let's go to the next one. Usually we go to Mentimeter, but this time I want you to go to paulf.com and respond to this particular question. Which one is your verse choice for EL or V, extensive listening or viewing? If you are given the 3 choices, which one will you use in your extensive listening or viewing program? So this is the polling. Okay, please go to paulf.com/Francisca Ivo 671 and then type in your answer. Okay, 4 people. So I'm going to wait for a while so that we can have more numbers of people, more people answering the polling. All right. So it seems that we have a tie there. 33, 33, 33. Okay, right. We can see the pattern already, right? So I give you 3 different choices and you choose. But basically, 1/3 of you choose the first one, 1/3, the second one, 1/3, the third one. Oops. Yeah. So basically, you can use all 3 depending on what you need to do during the extensive listening and viewing activities. If you need to slow down a little bit because your students or you yourself are not able to listen at the normal speed, then find programs or websites that help you do that. Yeah, like YouTube. You can go to YouTube and then you can slow down the audio. You can also have additional input in the form of text from those sources. So basically, all 3 can be used in extensive listening and viewing. Now, that's the first one. So you listen to something or watch something and you put that particular input for your particular level. You fit it to your particular level. The next type of activity is what is so-called the follow-up activities. Yeah. So after listening to a recording or podcast or watching a movie, you can ask students to reflect, retell, or give you the synopsis of what they watch or listen to. This is very standard procedure in teaching. Yeah, you can ask your students to role play or to transfer the information that they get from the story into a different form, a different type. So for example, making a comic out of a story or something like that. And the last one, you can ask the students to tweak the story a little bit, change it in a little bit. They can change the beginning, the middle, or the ending. They can pick one character and change it with another character, or they can put themselves as one of the characters. So there are a lot of things that students can do as follow-up activity. So this is one example of follow-up activity. This is a transfer activity. So you transfer the information that you get from a story into something else. So let's take a look at this one.
Hello. This is the story of an ordinary girl called Alice. Our story begins on an ordinary summer's day. Let's meet Alice. Here she is, sitting next to the river with her sister.
So first, this step is the first step. So you ask the students or your students to listen to Alice in Wonderland. You can even listen to it by yourself. And next, you ask them to make something. They don't have to spend a lot of time doing this because this is just a follow-up activity. Okay? So they can go to Masterpiece Generator there, make a free song, a freestyle song, sorry. So the story is about a predicament. We want the course to be meaningful. Okay, I'm feeling like having a random shoop shoop there. And I want the song to be told from a first person point of view. And then students will start to pick words from the story. So the word daisies is in the story, cake, boredom. So they actually transfer the information from the story of Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole into this particular program. Alice is a very curious girl, so I put curious there. And there are some things that she likes to do. So some activities. She likes to creep. So I put that in. And then she loves finding holes. Those are the words that Alice uses in the story. So when students do this, they should listen to the story, right? They should know the story before they can do the next activity. But this activity is fun. It's not taxing like regular intensive listening activities. And finally, I gave it a name. The name, no, right, that's wrong. Alice in Wonderland. So I asked the program to write me a song. So that's what the song looks like. How much do I love cake? But it's not really important what the song is, because it's not created by the students. So we are not going to give students score for doing this. This is just an activity that they have to do after they listen to the story. And then after that, they discuss the song. In the previous webinars, we talked about AI, artificial intelligence. And this is one way of using artificial intelligence without compromising students' grades in the end. Because you're not only looking for the song that the students created, but you are looking for the fact that they are able to discuss, they are able to see differences between the song and the story, and so on and so forth. So this is an example of transfer activity using technology. The next one is something called Pechakucha. My students love this one. So Pechakucha is basically a presentation of 20 images in 20 seconds each. So one image, 20 seconds. Students can put anything that they want there. They can find images from websites or their own images. They can draw it by themselves. And this way they can retell the story in a more systematic way, or they can tweak the story based on their own creativity. All right, so we finished the second one. Those are the activities. Now let's talk about the materials that we can use. Digital materials mostly. So in my extensive listening and viewing classes, not really classes, extensive listening and viewing are usually blended with other listening courses. Yeah, but we use audio recordings and podcasts, audiobooks, videos, TV programs, and movies. What we need to really pay attention to is actually we should have different levels for different students, because our students are heterogeneous. Some of them are really good, some of them are not that good. So we should encourage them to pick levels that suit their own comprehension level. And the next one is they should have choices, plenty of choices. So if you think about establishing an extensive listening or viewing program, you should work together with other people so that you can come up with more selection, or you should find websites that give you materials in different levels and also different types of topics. All right, so how I use technology to help me do these things: find materials, determining level of difficulty, and sharing materials, because I do not want to keep my own materials and keep on finding new ones on my own. I want to be able to see what other people use, and then this way we can save more time. So we need to share materials as well. I'm going to skip the first one because everyone can do this. Let's go to the second one and take a look at level of difficulties using LexTutor And then let's explore Wiklet a little bit and use that program or website to share materials. So this is what it looks like, profiling vocabulary using vocab profilers using LexTutor. So I'm going to go to the website, right? It looks like this. If you get a text, so whoops, I actually get the text from, okay, from ReadWorks. Find a content. Let's say I'm finding a content for grade 5, but this is native speakers of English. Yeah, Escape from the Mountains. You can use this for extensive listening as well, because you can listen to the recording while reading the script there. So if you copy this and then put it into this vocab profiler, you'll be able to see how difficult this text is. So I'm going to paste it and then submit a window. As you can see you can see here that this particular text contains 77.24 words within the first 1,000 more frequently used words in English. 10.57% are from the second 1,000. So if you give this particular text to learners who only know 1,000 words or 1,000 most frequently words in English, then they will have problems understanding the text. Although, if you can see here, this is for fifth graders, but fifth graders, native speaker of English, first grader. All right, so you will be able to see this, the profile of the vocabulary in the text. And they are actually marked using color coding. So these words are quite complicated. These are the most familiar words, yeah, within the first 500 and then the second 100. And if you go down, this is off list, means not listed, but you can teach them. Now that's the first stage, the first step. You know how difficult that text is. And to fit the text to the level of vocabulary of your learners, you probably will need something like this. Something that will tell you the level of vocabulary of your learners. Still using the same website, but this time the students should do simple tests like this, vocabulary level test. It's called vocabulary level test, and they can put their answers there. So I'm going to do this randomly, just so that we can see what's happening in this particular website. So very random. I should have put 4 there if I want to be consistent, but anyway, no need to be pedantic at this point. All right, so I only fill in the first 2,000, yeah. Let's just try to score. So my level is actually 75%. This means that I know 75% of the words within the 2,000 level. So your students are not at this level yet. If they can only do it 17%, they need to be able to score at least 83%. All right, so match that. Match the level of vocabulary with the difficulty of the text. However, listening is quite special. This trick is actually used a lot in extensive reading. But for listening, if you only do listening only activity, you should go down 1 or 2 levels just to make sure that your students understand the text without any problem, without they have to stop every few seconds, you know. And then after you have collected many things and your students have collected their resources as well, we can start. Whoops, sorry. Okay, right. So yeah, last night I played around with this a little bit. If you want to scan that QR code, you will get into my Wakelet. And this is what you should do. So first, scan the QR code and then put in your name. I put, well, random name there, Pani. And you will get into my Wakelet. This particular section of my Wakelet is for extensive reading and extensive listening resources. So these are all resources for that. And if you get access to that, it's yours as well. So you can use the links that I've put there. So what you need to do is to press the plus button and then put in the URL. So I put readworks there, .org. And I put it there. And then that's my contribution to my own Wakelet. Other people also contributed to this Wakelet. Right, so that's how it goes. Anyone succeeded in connecting to my Wakelet? So I'm going to try to go to my Wakelet now and see the results. Okay, so yeah, someone contributed to this. This is actually a colleague of mine. Yeah, so you can edit my collection. All right, now let's go to the next one. This is the wrap up. So today we've take a look at extensive listening and extensive viewing from different 3 aspects. The goal first, so I showed you why students need to do extensive listening and extensive viewing. And then we went through some activities. Some of them are the actual listening and viewing activities, and the rest are follow-up activities. And we also explored some materials. And we use technology to do that. So thank you very much. So back to Mas Calvin.
Thank you very much, Ibu Ivone, for your great presentation. All right, so we have some questions here, many questions actually. Let me start from this, from Ibu Witri Octavia. I think this question can be for other panelists as well. So can you suggest like apps that we can use to assess listening? Apps that we can use to assess listening.
Should I answer or?
Yeah, yes, please.
Okay. Right. Shortcut. I call that a shortcut, you know, like using apps to assess things. Listening is unique, just like reading, because the process happens here, somewhere inside of our cognition, our brain. So we cannot really see anyone's ability unless they perform something. Yeah. So when you listen to a recording, for example, we will never know whether the person comprehend the recording or not, right? Before you ask them to do something. The same as when we talk to people, and then, for example, I'm talking to Calvin now, and he's not responding. He's giving me a blank look. So it means that it's not comprehending what I say, like, because there is no response. So assessing listening will have to take the form of using other activities to assess students' comprehension. Yeah.
So there should be like following up activities, right, after we do the listening. Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you will not be able to see whether what they listen to is successful listening or not. That's why a lot of people are fond of using intensive listening approach. You can easily give students comprehension questions about main idea, detailed information, and things like that. And if the students can answer those questions, then they have successfully performed the listening and they are able to comprehend the oral text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ya, baik Bapak Ibu, jadi Bu Ivone menyarankan bahwa setelah mendengarkan audio begitu dari beberapa website tadi, memang disarankan harus ada follow up activities begitu Bapak Ibu untuk melihat apakah mereka benar-benar memahami audio yang telah mereka dengarkan dari website tersebut. Jadi harus ada aktivitas lanjutan begitu Bapak Ibu. Okay, thank you Bu Ivone. Panelists, do you have some thoughts on that question?
Pertanyaannya yang
we can use to assess listening.
Ya, yang dipertanyakan apps-nya sepertinya belum ada. To improve listening, yes. To help improving listening, yes. Tapi to assess belum ada deh kayaknya. Yang di-assess biasanya bukan, karena listening balik lagi kompleks, dan so they can assess grammar through listening and so on through listening, but not the listening itself. Because of that's very complex. Maybe we have to wait for another 20 years, and then somebody will create the apps. When artificial intelligence is getting better, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Jati. Pak Manda, do you want to say something?
Yes, thank you, Mas Calvin and Bu Ivone. Just to add, I agree that it's better to be put into follow-up activities like that. So, but again, if you are looking at the assessment itself, it can be a simple close-ended. So just like IELTS test or TOEFL test, where you answer and then it's just like giving you the score or the results directly, because it is just like 1, 2, 3. But then if you are looking at a more meaningful understanding and also representation of their understanding, it should be in a process type of thing, and you can develop rubric to assess their performance on their listening. That's my thought. Thank you.
Baik, Bapak Ibu, jadi mengulang sedikit tadi Pak Jati mengatakan bahwa setahu beliau saat ini belum ada semacam apps khusus begitu untuk mengukur kemampuan listening siswa. Mungkin menunggu 20 tahun lagi begitu Bapak Ibu, ketika teknologi tambah maju begitu, artificial intelligence-nya semakin canggih, nanti mungkin ada. Dan Pak Heri mengatakan bahwa kita bisa sih menggunakan apps yang ada, tetapi kebanyakan hanya sebatas pilihan begitu ya, yes no, semacam pilihan ganda begitu Bapak Ibu. Dan Pak Heri mengatakan bahwa sebaiknya memang harus ada follow up activities agar memang aktivitasnya menjadi meaningful gitu dan lebih bisa menilai ya kemampuan mereka untuk memahami audio teks yang lebih baik begitu. Terima kasih Pak Mada. Bu Ivone, I have another question from Pak Himawan Adi actually.
Yes.
And he asked about this. How about teachers from Majapahit generation? Are they too old to do those kind of things? And do you find like potential challenges for those Majapahit generation teachers when they do those activities, Bu Ivone?
No, absolutely not. Any generation can do extensive listening and viewing, and you don't have to do it the flashy way. So what I've shown you just now, some of them are a little bit sophisticated, but you don't have to do things the sophisticated way. You can easily watch series like the Korean guy. He watched Friends, the whole series of Friends, 10 DVDs, 3 different ways, through three different stages, and he managed to learn English, and it's quite well, right? His English is quite good. So you can just watch TV a lot. Yeah, so the key for extensive listening and viewing, actually, time and effort. So you have to do it long enough and regularly enough to be able to build fluency and confidence. And by using the right kind of materials, then you will enjoy the experience as well.
Thank you, Bu Ivone. Any other thoughts on that question? Jadi Bu Ivone mengatakan singkatnya, Bapak Ibu tidak perlu takut begitu karena sebetulnya tidak harus melakukan semuanya yang tadi Bu Ivone sampaikan ya. Bisa memilih beberapa apps dulu yang sederhana-sederhana, misalnya dari menonton TV, atau menonton tadi grup band Korea ya, Bu Ivone ya? Boyband
TV
Korea
series,
dulu, melihat mereka diwawancarai. Kuncinya adalah latihan terus-menerus gitu Bapak Ibu. Jadi ya latihan secara reguler gitu, mendengarkan lagi dan lagi. Begitu sih Bapak Ibu. Jadi mulai dari hal-hal yang sederhana dulu Bapak Ibu, jangan langsung melakukan semuanya, tapi mulai memilih misalnya teknologi yang simpel-simpel dulu dan mulai dari sana. Terus-menerus secara reguler.
Yeah. Can I add a little bit? Sorry, Pak.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So for extensive listening, it's not going to happen overnight. So it will take time. Yeah, as long as 2 years perhaps, until you can get a level in which you are very confident in listening in the target language. Yeah.
Jadi Bapak Ibu, jadi kita tidak bisa mengharapkan ya, misalnya mendengarkan satu website gitu, audionya kita dengarkan langsung tiba-tiba kita pandai begitu atau langsung float, nggak bisa Bapak Ibu, memang memerlukan waktu di sana, perlu latihan setahun 2 tahun begitu. Cukup lama memerlukan waktu, yang penting latihan rutin begitu reguler. Pak Jati mau menambahkan?
Ya, karena saya lahir di zaman Majapahit, jadi the point is not the tools. The point is not what is there. The point is the extensive, massive of exposure. Kayaknya itu yang orang hilang. Mau pakai radio SW, mau pakai TV jadul, mau pakai HP yang canggih, mau apa. The key is, I think that's the exposure. I want to share a little bit about my son. I speak English to my son, start from 0 year. Listen things in English, sometimes in Indonesian, and so on, and read a lot of English books. I never taught him grammar, vocabulary, no. Just read with him, play with him, watch video with him, and watch TV with him, and so on. Dan kelas 2 SMP, saya suruh tes TOEFL bareng sama dosen-dosen teman saya. Kelas 2 SMP, jadi baru pertama kali tahu yang namanya TOEFL. Skornya waktu itu 536. Saya sendiri kaget. Then I asked, how do you listen? It's about lecturing, it's about biology, and so on, and you are class 2. I'm using my feeling. When it comes to grammar, I never taught you grammar, but then, well, it's very obvious. Jadi dia nggak bisa mengekspresikan kenapa, menganalisa grammar dan segala macam. Kuncinya adalah exposure in any form, using tools around you. Kalau tadi contohnya Bu Ivone kan untuk anak-anak zaman sekarang ya, yang di metropolitan gitu kan, di Malang, Surabaya, Bandung. Tapi anak-anak yang di pinggiran mungkin exposure-nya tetap ada, harus ada bahasa Inggris, tetapi mungkin bisa menggunakan hal yang lain. Kira-kira begitu kayak Om Calvin, back to you, thank you.
Terima kasih Pak Jati. Okay, we have another question from Ibu Renata. Could you please share your experiences actually in teaching extensive listening online, Ivone? Perhaps one example in one class in your campus?
Okay. Right. Extensive listening is actually not something to be taught. Yeah, it's a program to be embedded into other programs, or it can be a separate programs on its own. So there are different types of extensive listening or viewing programs that you can, or models that we can follow. So for example, one is independent extensive listening or viewing. Students are not supervised. And then there are a supervised one, there are blended one in which in our courses we blend an intensive listening and extensive listening programs. And we can also use a kind of course management system to help us manage. Yeah, like X reading, we are currently using X reading for the portion of extensive reading in our courses, but X reading is paired with regular classroom reading. And X reading can also be paired up with regular listening courses. So that's what we do, pairing up what we have as listening courses, and then ask the students to do more using X reading. Yeah, because in X reading, students can read and also listen to recordings and stories like that. I also give my students, well, we finished our last semester already, and when we started the COVID pandemic style of teaching, I started to give my students one video every week that they can watch, and then they can talk about the videos. And because we are talking about regular course, all of the videos that I've chosen are related to the course topic. Yeah, so not just random videos. But in addition to that, my students are also watching movies this semester, and they report on what they watch, which part of it that they like, and things like that. And they send me their report through Google Form. Yeah, some people are really keen on doing this, because who doesn't love watching movies? Like, they can choose whatever movies that they want and talk about their movies of that they like. Yeah, that's how I do it with my classes.
Okay. Jadi Bapak Ibu tadi saya mencatat di sini Bu Ivone menggunakan yang pertama ada xreading.com gitu. Lalu beliau menggunakan LMS juga untuk mengupload materi readingnya di sana. Lalu Bu Ivone juga beberapa kali meminta mahasiswa untuk menonton video begitu every week, jadi setiap minggu. Lalu Bu Ivone meminta mereka untuk merespon. Dan juga Bu Ivone pernah meminta mahasiswanya untuk menonton film begitu, lalu memang diminta untuk merespon juga menggunakan Google Form.
Yeah.
So, did you post questions there?
No, the questions are very, very standard. Yeah, so which part of it do you like, and why do you like it? You know, that sort of thing. Because when it comes to extensive listening and viewing, we are not supposed to give our student activities which are too demanding. And it's actually better to ask them questions so that they can relate to the story that they watch or listen to. Yeah. Why do you like it? Why? Which characters that you like most, and why? If you are to be a character in that particular story, who will you be, and why? You know, that sort of question. Very personal questions.
Okay, so you want your students to relate the movie to their personal lives,
Yes.
To the world, to the okay. Jadi Bapak Ibu, Bu Ivone mengatakan bahwa ketika mahasiswanya diminta untuk merespon video tersebut, jadi pertanyaannya tidak perlu susah-susah Bapak Ibu, pertanyaan-pertanyaan umum saja yang simple-simple, minta mahasiswanya untuk yang membuat koneksi antara film dan hidup mereka begitu, apa yang mereka alami begitu, apakah ada pengalaman yang sama dengan film tersebut. Okay, perhaps thank you Bu Ivone. Bu Vinita, Pak Toar, Mbak Lutfi, do you want to share experiences in teaching extensive listening online specifically? Okay, so we move to another question. This is from Pak Agastia. So, considering various comprehension levels of your students, so how do you usually select the listening materials? Jadi kan mahasiswa levelnya berbeda-beda begitu Bu Ivone. Lalu bagaimana biasanya Bu Ivone memilih materinya begitu untuk listeningnya?
Is this for yes, thank you, Mas Calvin. Is this for intensive listening or extensive listening?
So basically,
extensive.
Yeah. So he is asking, how do you select the listening materials?
Right, the students actually select the listening materials by themselves. Like when they choose their own movies to watch or recordings to listen to, they choose by themselves. But we focus on the topic that we talk about in class, so that they can recycle the words, like they will need to encounter words very often before they can internalize the words. Yeah, that way they learn it in class and then they encounter the same words outside class within the same topic. So basically, ask the students to choose their own materials.
Okay. Do you usually give them a big theme that, for example, this week we will talk about, for example, health, and next week we will talk about sport?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this week we talk about bullying, for example. So students find things related to bullying. They can read, they can watch, they can do things like that, and then so.
Do you mention specifically about the length, Bu Ivone, about the length of the recording?
No, because for extensive listening, the students do not have to finish listening or watching in one sitting, So they can always go back to it. For example, they only have 10 minutes now. They listen to the first 10 minutes and then stop and then continue it. This is like when you're doing extensive reading. So when you read, and you read for enjoyment or reading for pleasure, you have a book, a novel, you sit down, wait for your coffee to brew, right? And then you read it, and then it's brewing, it's done, you put a bookmark inside of it, you close it down, and then you do something else. Okay. So it's something like that. Yeah.
Jadi Bapak Ibu, untuk memilih materi listeningnya, mahasiswa diberi kebebasan begitu untuk memilih. Tetapi tadi Bu Ivone mengatakan bahwa memang ada satu tema besar begitu setiap minggu, misalnya dimulai dari misalnya tentang olahraga, kemudian minggu kedua tentang misalnya ilmu pengetahuan alam, atau misalnya tentang kesehatan begitu. Okay. Jadi memang ada tema besarnya dan tidak ada batasan misalnya lama audionya begitu Bapak Ibu. Dan karena pada dasarnya memang mahasiswa juga tidak perlu misalnya menyelesaikan untuk mendengarkan misalnya the whole audio, jadi tidak perlu mendengarkan sampai selesai begitu. Ketika misalnya mereka memilih misalnya audio yang cukup panjang begitu, mungkin bisa setengahnya begitu, setengah atau pokoknya tidak perlu selesai begitu untuk mendengarkan audionya tersebut.
Yeah, can I add a little bit on that?
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah, so you can spend the first 15 minutes of listening class, for example, the first 15 minutes, and let the students listen to something or watch something just for 15 minutes, and then ask them to stop. And after they watch or listen to a recording of their choice, then they can talk to the person next to them and telling each other about what they just watched. You know, prediction activities is very good. And you can ask them, so what do you think is going to happen next? Talk about that. Yeah.
Jadi Bu Ivone juga menambahkan Bapak Ibu misalnya 50 menit pertama begitu di kelas.
15 menit, Mas.
15, sorry. 15. Sorry, I heard 50.
Yes.
Okay. Jadi 15 menit
sorry.
pertama begitu di kelas, murid-muridnya bisa diminta untuk menonton video begitu, mendengarkan audio begitu dari berbagai sumber, silahkan. Lalu nanti mahasiswa atau murid-muridnya bisa diminta untuk ya share begitu, apa sih yang kamu dengarkan, cerita tentang apa, gitu. Cerita dengan temannya. 15 menit pertama. Oke. Bu Finita, do we have people who raise their hand? Who want to?
Ada. Saya coba Magda Ayu Lestari ya.
Okay.
Allow to talk. Let's see. Ibu Magda Ayu Lestari, can you unmute your microphone, please? Tolong di-unmute because you're raising hand. Oke, kalau enggak, ini raise-nya dari tadi. Saya coba.
Bu Magda, apakah bisa tanda speakernya? Oh.
Sudah ask to, tapi tidak menjawab. Oke, Pak Haryanto. Pak Haryanto, can you hear me? Bisa dengar Pak Haryanto? Coba di-unmute speakernya. Oh, tidak ada. Oke, rupanya mungkin salah pencet, salah itu mungkin. Ada Ibu Nina Fatimah. Let me try. Ya,
Ibu Nina, silakan.
Ibu Nina,
Hello,
morning.
am I there? Good
Yes.
morning,
Yes, you are.
Well, I want to ask something. Actually, it's not really related with the topic maybe, but I saw somebody asked about the technique you used, how to like project the screen of your phone into that presentation. It was so awesome. So kind of curious, how do we do that? Could you share the trick? Thank you.
Sure. Not a problem. Thank you, Bu Nina. So Bu Nina was actually asking us about how to create that video inside of the presentation.
Yeah,
so it's very easy, Bu. Yeah. You just need to use your cell phone and use screen recording on your cell phone. There's a screen recording feature on your cell phone, and you record while you are performing that activity. So it was actually recording what I did on my cell phone. And once you're done with the recording, stop it, and then send the video to your computer, and then embed the video into the PowerPoint presentation.
I see. That's as simple as that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ya, oke. Pak Yulianto, coba ya, supaya tidak gender bias. Yes, Pak Dwi Yulianto, silakan.
I'm now in Pak Jati. Okay, thank you, Pak Jati, for the time, and thank you, Ibu Ivone, for your inspiring and also great presentation anyway. And I would like to ask you a question. Are you also conducting extensive learning during this pandemic?
Excuse me?
Okay, are you also conducting an extensive listening during this pandemic anyway? If yes, how do you deliver your the instructions to the students how to do the extensive listening, especially to those who haven't got any experience to do the extensive listening before? Because in my opinion, instruction is very crucial, especially at the beginning of the program. So would you please share how do you give the instructions to the students so that they will get the instructions correctly and do the programs happily later on? Thank you, Ivone, for the time.
Yes, thank you, Pak Dwi. So I actually do two things. The first one is that I choose something that they will need to listen to every week. So one video And then I put that in my course management system. I'm using Edmodo with my students, so they know that every week they will need to do this. You know, they do what they need to do for the intensive listening, and then I will send them one video for them to do their extensive listening, but supervised extensive listening. And they will need to watch a movie that we have agreed with. You know, we talk about that before the semester started. So I give them the chance to watch movies, and they will reflect on their experience and report it using Google Form. That's what I did. Yeah. So the instruction, actually, I give the instruction at the very beginning of the semester, and we were still in face-to-face mode. Yeah, and we've done it for 8 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So we've done the regular face-to-face for 8 weeks. So the students have known how to deal with the intensive listening and then the video and extensive listening from the beginning of the semester. Yeah, I just switched that into course management system, and everything runs as usual. But the video one that I sent to them, I started from the 9th week when we started with the study from home mode.
But basically you upload all the materials to Edmodo.
Yes, I send. Yes.
Oke. Jadi Bapak Ibu singkatnya, Bu Ivone memulai instruksinya di awal kelas Bapak Ibu sebelum COVID datang. Jadi learning management system nanti bisa Bapak Ibu lihat, Google saja edmodo.com, dan semua materi listeningnya Bu Ivone upload ke sana, ke Edmodo-nya. Lalu ya siswa-siswanya memang diminta untuk merespon begitu dari video yang mereka dengarkan lewat Google Form gitu singkatnya.
Yeah.
Thank you Pak Di for the question. Do we have other people, Pak Jati, who raised their hand?
Bu Lucy.
Okay, Bu Lucy.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Bu Ivone, Pak Jati, and Mas Kelvin. I'm Lucy from Riau. I just want to share my experience in teaching listening in COVID, in this pandemic. So for the listening class, it is a listening comprehension. Here I share a video to my students, and then I will ask them to get some information which is based on the indicators of listening comprehension. And then after that, the student will submit their work, and the last, I also ask them to what do you call it, to choose the material, the video from YouTube and others, and they also do the same instruction from me. So what do you think about this, about my strategy, Ivone? Thank you.
Thank you, Brucey. So I should give comments to the design,
yes,
right?
Of course.
Right, the design is okay. The focus is still on intensive listening, if I'm not mistaken. So there's, intensive listening. Although the part in which students can choose their own materials, that fits extensive listening as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But for extensive listening, you do not give them comprehension questions.
Oh.
The only comprehension questions that you give to them should be general comprehension questions. So it's not supposed to be about details like something like this. So what happened to the person who stole that wallet? You know, at what second that the person, it's not a question like that.
No.
So more personal questions that will make them see the story or the films that they watch in a more personal way.
Okay. Sometimes I also ask them to make a summary.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
Right.
is it still intensive or already extensive?
Right. Good question. Right. Summary is actually one type of activity that students really hate
Yeah.
to do because
Yeah.
it's very difficult. It's very tasking. Um, so yeah, tone down on the summary a little bit. Yeah, do not ask them to always summarize. And summarizing activity actually very easy for students to do because they can just take the summary from the internet. So for example, if
Yeah.
you give them something, they will go to the internet and find the summary of that movie. Questions will help them more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bu Ivone.
You're most welcome, Bu Lucy.
Thank you, Bu Lucy. Jadi Bapak Ibu di extensive listening sekali lagi, apa yang misalnya apa yang kamu bisa pelajari misalnya dari
Right.
ya apa yang kamu bisa pelajari dari audio ini atau video ini. Jadi bukan menanyakan misalnya siapakah karakter yang ada di video tersebut, apa peran mereka di video tersebut, begitu bukan begitu ya Bapak Ibu. Jadi di extensive learning lebih untuk yang personal connection, making connections, membuat koneksi antara video yang kita dengarkan dengan apa yang kita alami, apa yang siswa-siswi alami.
Yeah. Questions like, what does the story remind you of? You know, when you watch that story, what does it remind you of? Perhaps it reminds them of their friends, of their mother, you know, of an event that they attended some time ago or something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay. Do we have some other people who raise their hand, Pak Jati?
I'm looking for my panelists. Where are they?
Yeah.
You have to mention them, Bu Ivone. They are disappearing.
Oh, okay.
Eating the kacang rebus.
Right.
No,
that's Mas Kelvin's job to call people's name.
We are
Nadia
learning from you. I'm learning from you, Bu Ivone. So
thank you.
This new topic for me, so I cannot respond too much about this.
Right.
Yeah, Nadia Zain is here. Hi, Nadia.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Please, your questions.
Mbak Nadia or Bu Nadia.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm your student.
Oh, okay, right.
Okay.
Can you ask me the question on campus?
Jangan dikasih name-nya.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
No, I just want to ask about the implication or implementation, especially in teaching listening in ESP, ma'am. Is there any specific tips or maybe topics? Because when teaching ESP is actually challenging, they are varied in capabilities, they are varied in comprehensive such like that.
Right. Yeah, I think I can understand. I've been in your shoes before because I taught ESP as well in my early career days. Yeah, well, it's difficult. Anyone want to help me with this one? Motivation, yeah, Pak Jati.
Saya mau nambah biar bingung aja sih sebetulnya. The term of ESP, ESP is make us as a teacher difficult because then the ESP students, they are not ready to be ESP actually. Your ESP student when you have the basics of English, it's enough. Kan ESP itu kan dulunya lahirnya tidak di Indonesia kan, di Amerika sana atau di mana gitu kan. that preparing them or train them before they go in a job place gitu. Tapi di luar sana konteksnya beda. Di luar sana konteksnya mereka they speak English outside the classroom and mingle with the Americans, mingle with the British, and also in the job they mingle with the American and they speak English gitu. Exposure-nya beda. Terus dicoba diterapkan di Indonesia gitu kan. Ini orang-orang biar bisa mengerti teknikalnya, ya sudah dikasih ISP aja gitu kan. Sebetulnya konteksnya agak beda. Jadi agak sulit. Tidak not only listening. How can I teach reading in my ISP class? Terus bingung karena bahasa Inggrisnya ada yang jelek banget, ada yang bagus banget. ISP-nya nanti sama-sama mau kuliah penerbangan gitu. Kan bingung kitanya. So in that context kayaknya gitu. I can understand that Bu Ivone will find difficulties to answer that. It's not only listening. It's for all skills. Kayaknya gitu. Maybe I'm wrong. Just a thought.
And Pak Jati and Bu Ivone, do you still agree that practice still makes perfect? Like we need time.
Yeah.
Give exposure. Do you agree with that, Pak Jati?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yeah, give exposure, yes, and so on and so on. Tapi begitu dilabelin Pak Jati itu ngajari ISP, harusnya begini gitu loh. Itu yang menjadi kita bimbang ragu. Aku mau ngajari ISP, tapi dia bahasa Inggrisnya masih yang general aja nggak ngerti gitu kan. Should I go general first or ISP gitu? Perang batin di situ, dimarahin supervisor, gitu kan, dimarahin terus ada silabus yang berbeda dan segala situasi realnya kayaknya gitu deh. Tapi ada Pak Agus yang di vokasi, mungkin Pak Agus bisa menjelaskan lebih, ada bayangan apa yang terjadi di vokasi gitulah kira-kira. Pak Agus.
Ini maka kewong iki senenge. Okay, so that's what is it, a problem also for us. Apa namanya, yang kami lakukan betul seperti yang disampaikan Pak Jati, we give them the general English and then actually we do not really have an ISP class. Di vokasi UNS kami lebih membekali mereka how to communicate at the workplace. Bukan pada spesifik bidang ilmunya, bukan tentang teknik permesinan, bukan tentang periklanan, bukan, tetapi how to communicate with the workplace. Karena kami melihat mereka kan bekerja berhubungan dengan orang, bukan berhubungan dengan literatur literatur tentang bidang ilmu itu. Akan berhubungan dengan orang lebih banyak kami siapkan untuk ke how to communicate at the workplace, at the business environment itu. Mungkin ini nggak menjawab, tetapi karena saya ditanya yang terjadi di vokasi UNS seperti apa, itu yang kami lakukan di tempat kami. Begitu, Kak Calvin. Sorry, Opa.
That's good. That's a good point. Karena gini, orang yang vokasi itu terus pikirnya ISP gitu loh. Tidak ada fleksibilitas untuk membuat sendiri. Kayak UNS ini kan unik kan. I'm not paying attention or tidak akan ngajarin, kalau dia teknik mesin tidak akan mengajarin vocabulary tentang mesin. But more on the how to communicate with your supervisor. Ya, dan yang gitu-gitu itu mungkin lebih bermanfaat kayak gitu kayaknya.
Ya, karena memang kan vokasi lebih disiapkan untuk memberikan atau berproduksi lah, bukan tidak meng-create knowledge baru di bidang ilmu itu. Itu yang kami lakukan di Solo itu seperti itu. Saya yakin dengan literatur yang diberikan di mata kuliah lain itu kan jelas ada vocabulary yang berhubungan dengan bidang ilmunya. Biarlah ISP-nya diambil dari sana, tetapi kami lebih akan menguati tadi how to communicate in English at the workplace for business environment. Kami begitu. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Agus. Yeah, perhaps this will be like the last question from audience, Pak Jati. How about the cheating? How do you handle that cheating issue in the assignments
Cheating
that you
selalu ada lah.
you assign?
Yeah.
Some ask about that. Kalau ada yang nyontek bagaimana Bu Ivone? Lalu dicek satu-satu atau bagaimana?
That's actually, that can easily be answered using my previous answer. If you may have different experience. So if the question is, if you want to be a character in that story, who will you be and why? That question, again, will be answered using the student's own knowledge and preference rather than going to the internet and then find the answer of that thing.
Mbak Lutfi, Bu Vinita, Pak Heri, Mbak Celia, do you want to add about the cheating issue?
Menambahkan tapi dikit.
Oh ya Mbak.
Celia,
please.
Mau menambahkan tadi banyak yang tanya tentang materi untuk extensive listening itu bagaimana sih cara pilihnya. So few days ago I read Pak Willy's plenary paper presentation yang judulnya Materials and Methods for Extensive Listening. Jadi mungkin bisa Bapak Ibu akses di situ. Jadi bagaimana memilih materi untuk extensive listening. Terus tadi ada beberapa pertanyaan tentang how to assess extensive listening. Maybe we can use the similar assessment with extensive reading. We may use extensive listening log or journal, and then after that using follow-up interesting activities like what have been mentioned by Bu Ivone. Mungkin gitu.
Okay, thank you. Mbak Celia. Mbak Lutfi, do you want to add something?
Sebetulnya sudah dijawab oleh Dedek Celia tadi. Tapi saya sedikit menambahkan terkait dengan tadi banyak memang pertanyaan tentang how to assess extensive listening dan tadi terkait dengan cheating ya. Ini saya pernah melakukan sebuah observasi singkat sederhana tentang bagaimana para guru dan dosen itu melakukan practice listening di kelas. Memang kebanyakan masih ini mungkin lebih ke intensive listening ya, bukan extensive listening, tapi memang kebanyakan guru itu masih the actual practice yang mereka lakukan di kelas itu masih hanya sekedar memberikan audio atau video and then let the student to answer some questions gitu. Jadi masih sangat sifatnya menyelesaikan sebuah tes untuk assessing listening. Karena itulah mungkin ada di benak para pendidik kita, para pengajar itu bagaimana untuk menanggulangi atau menghadapi cheating. Nah, kalau memang bentuk dari assessment-nya adalah berupa tadi memberikan tes saja, memang itu sangat rentan terhadap saling nyontek dan sebagainya tidak. Nah, tadi yang sudah disebutkan Bu Ivone, saya sangat setuju bahwa kita perlu memberikan personalized assessment ya kepada siswa, dan saya yakin ketika tujuan assessment itu adalah bukan untuk scoring or grading, maka siswa juga akan lebih jujur dalam melakukan assessment tersebut. Dan ketika assessment itu adalah tujuannya untuk improving the students' learning, maka idealnya siswa tidak akan melakukan cheating tersebut. Gitu Kak Calvin.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Lutfi. Baik, Bapak Ibu, sepertinya waktu sudah menunjukkan pukul 11.30. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Thank you very much for joining our session today. Just a reminder that you can always go to our website, untitled.org.id, to download the PowerPoint files and also see the the YouTube video, the recorded session of this webinar. Go to our website, Bapak Ibu. Jadi Bapak Ibu sekali lagi silakan kunjungi website ITEL untuk melihat rekaman sesi hari ini dan sesi-sesi sebelumnya. Lalu di sana Bapak Ibu juga bisa mendownload begitu materinya Bu Ivone dan materi Bapak Ibu panelis yang lain yang sudah dipresentasikan kemarin di webinar kemarin. Dan Bapak Ibu ingin mengingatkan saja bahwa besok masih ada 2 sesi lagi dari Bu Frances dan Pak Kolm. Silakan kunjungi website ITEL untuk mendaftar begitu Bapak Ibu. So, terima kasih Bu Ivone dan Bapak Ibu panelis semuanya. Semoga bermanfaat pertemuan hari ini dan sesi hari ini. Terima kasih Bu Ivone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Terima kasih semua.
Thank you.
Terima kasih. Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. Sampai besok jam?
Besok sore. Iya,
sore. 15.30.
15.30.
Kakak Francis.
Dan besok itu sebetulnya hari libur, hari Minggu. Tapi
hari ini juga libur.
Kita orang baik, jadi ya.
Itu bukannya tiap hari kita libur.
Ya.
Bukannya tiap hari kita libur.
Ya,
work from home loh, Om.
Kita libur nggak jelas tadi itu.
Tiap hari ada di rumah yang pasti.
Satu arah ada 2 ya?
Ada.
Selalu. Kadang-kadang 2, kadang-kadang 3 gitu, Bu Ivone.
Ya ini lewat HP.
Dia mau pamer
Saya sambil melakukan yang lain. Maaf.
Thank you, Bu Ivone. Keren, Calvin.
Makasih, Bu Ivone. Saya ikut belajar, makanya nggak ikut komentar karena baru belajar.
Sama, Tevin.
Iya.
Aku nggak ngajar listening.
About listening, so I actually learn a lot.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you.
So, got
ideas. Aku juga nggak ngajar listening, makanya kept silent. Tadi ngomong anak ditembak Pak Jati aja.
Habis yang lain semua diem kan ya, udah ditembak aja.
Karena kalau ditembak kakak Calvin nggak ngaruh, semua diem.
Pak Tua keluar.
Dipanggil-panggil Calvin, pura-pura bisu semua.
Tapi betul deh, Kakak Ivone luar biasa hari ini. Keren. Seperti saya posting di grup itu kan, luar biasa.
Second to you, Pak Agus. Another jazzy presentation, santai gitu. Enak.
By the way, ini masih recording ya? Masih lagi ya?
Oh ya, tak matiin dulu recordingnya ya.